Meghan Markle has stunned her spare Harry by demanding he severs ties.
The custody deal for Harry and Meghan's children was finally signed, and the world thought the royal drama had calmed. But everything changed when Harry dropped a shocking accusation against Meghan and Andrew. Suddenly, old tensions resurfaced, and secrets threatened to unravel. Could one statement undo years of careful planning? And who really benefits from this twist? The custody deal is signed. The news shook the royal world when it was officially announced that Harry and Meghan had finalized a custody agreement for their children. After months of speculation, negotiations, and endless media attention, the deal was reportedly done. The public breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that the royal drama that had dominated headlines for years was finally calming down. For many, it seemed like a turning point. A deal had been reached, and for the first time in a long while, there was hope for a peaceful arrangement that would benefit the children. The announcement created waves on social media, news outlets, and even among royal watchers. Experts began analyzing what the agreement might mean for both parents. Many assumed that with this agreement, Harry and Meghan would be able to move forward without interference from palace officials. The perception was that the deal was carefully structured to balance both parents' rights and responsibilities. People hoped it would ensure stability for the children and allow Harry and Meghan to focus on their family without constant public scrutiny. Despite this optimism, insiders hinted that not everything was as calm as it appeared. Royal aides noted subtle tensions during the final stages of the negotiations. The documents might have been signed, but relationships between family members were still fragile. Some sources suggested that certain family members were unhappy with specific clauses, particularly those regarding decision-making and privacy. Even after the deal was signed, whispers about disagreements and quiet resentment lingered behind the polished public image. Legal experts suggested that custody agreements involving high-profile figures are rarely simple. While the papers legally finalize rights and responsibilities, personal feelings, loyalties, and past conflicts can still affect how smoothly things operate in practice. The deal might have ensured shared custody on paper, but the real challenge would be maintaining harmony when decisions about schooling, healthcare, and public appearances had to be made. Observers understood that even small disagreements could escalate into public controversies. The media, always alert to drama, began speculating on potential conflicts. Headlines ranged from cautious optimism to warnings about possible family clashes. Analysts discussed the difficulty of maintaining private family life under constant public attention. Even with the custody agreement, the story was far from over. The public wanted clarity, yet all signs suggested that the real test had just begun. For Harry and Meghan, the deal represented both a relief and a burden. While the agreement promised structured arrangements, it also required them to navigate complex family dynamics carefully. Every action, every decision, would now be scrutinized more closely than ever. Even a minor disagreement could attract global attention, making daily life for the family more challenging. The pressure to maintain peace while protecting their children was immense. Yet the most significant twist was still to come. The public had celebrated the milestone, thinking the drama was settling. However, insiders warned that an unexpected statement from Harry could shift everything. The custody deal, while legally complete, was not immune to human emotions, hidden conflicts, and the intricacies of royal family relationships. The final note of suspense was clear. What no one anticipated was the accusation that would change everything. Could a single statement undo years of careful planning? And who really benefits from this sudden shift? The calm before the storm. After the custody deal was finalized, life appeared to settle into a period of calm. Harry and Meghan were reportedly focusing on co-parenting their children while managing public duties. On the surface, everything seemed organized and peaceful. Royal aides described the arrangement as balanced and fair. Both parents were committed to honoring the agreement, and the public was optimistic. The media coverage shifted slightly, moving from speculation to curiosity about how the family would adapt to this new chapter. Royal insiders, however, observed that calm can be deceptive. While meetings were scheduled and routines were established, subtle signs suggested tension lingered beneath the surface. There were instances of missed calls or delayed responses during important discussions. Public appearances sometimes carried small signs of strain. Body language in photos and videos hinted at unease, even when smiles were visible. These subtle cracks suggested that the agreement, while legally secure, did not erase human emotions or past disagreements. Observers noted that in high-profile families, appearances are crucial. Every gesture, every word, and every photograph is scrutinized. Harry and Meghan had to maintain a composed public image while negotiating complex personal relationships behind closed doors. The stress of balancing privacy and public interest created pressure that was difficult to manage. Even small misunderstandings could escalate quickly when under constant observation. Despite these challenges, both parents were determined to prioritize their children. The custody arrangement required careful coordination for schooling, travel, healthcare, and public events. Each decision needed mutual agreement, and even minor conflicts required diplomacy and patience. For Harry and Meghan, this period of calm involved navigating complex logistics while ensuring their children's well-being. Their commitment to providing stability for their family was evident, even amid external pressures. Media coverage during this time emphasized a narrative of peace and organization. Headlines focused on family milestones, charitable work, and public appearances. Yet insiders warned that appearances could be misleading. While the public believed the drama was settling, those close to the family noticed quiet tensions. Private conversations often revealed disagreements about timing, responsibilities, and influence. These hidden conflicts were rarely visible, but could easily escalate if triggered. For viewers, the calm period represented a contrast to the drama that had dominated headlines. It highlighted the importance of structure, communication, and shared responsibility in high-profile families. However, the period also set the stage for future disruptions. Observers understood that even carefully planned agreements could be challenged by unexpected statements or actions. The calm was fragile, dependent on cooperation and restraint from all parties involved. Even with careful planning, the tension lingered. The public may have seen smiles, but insiders knew that family dynamics are complicated. Trust, history, and expectations influence how agreements function in reality. Every decision, no matter how minor, carried the potential to reignite conflicts or create new disagreements. The calm before the storm was not simply a pause, it was a delicate balance waiting to be tested. Harry's accusation drops. The tension that had been quietly building behind the scenes finally erupted when Harry made a public accusation that stunned the royal world. The timing of the statement was critical. The custody deal had been finalized, and the public had been led to believe that the family disputes were resolved. Suddenly, Harry claimed that Meghan and Andrew had interfered with decisions related to the care and parenting of their children. This accusation immediately turned the story on its head. The calm that had appeared to settle over the family was shattered in an instant. The gravity of the claim drew widespread attention. Observers noted that it was unusual for a high-profile figure to make such statements immediately after a legal agreement had been reached. The timing suggested urgency, and the public began to question why Harry had chosen this exact moment to speak out. The world watched closely, trying to understand the nature of the interference he alleged. Was it about schooling, travel, or private family decisions? While details were limited, the mere suggestion that trusted family members could disrupt a custody arrangement created shockwaves. The accusation had multiple layers of impact. For one, it directly affected public perception of the family. Harry's statement implied that the agreement, while legally binding, was vulnerable to manipulation. Audiences began to wonder whether the deal had been fair from the beginning. Was it possible that the custody arrangement was compromised without public knowledge? Speculation ran rampant as people attempted to piece together the sequence of events and the relationships involved. In addition to public perception, the statement had potential legal ramifications. A custody agreement is meant to establish clear rights and responsibilities. If interference from other family members was proven, it could be grounds for modifying the agreement or taking further legal action. Lawyers and family experts highlighted that even subtle influences on parental decisions could complicate the enforcement of agreements. The accusation put all parties on high alert, as every action and communication could be scrutinized for evidence of manipulation. The accusation also affected trust within the family. Family dynamics are complex under normal circumstances, but in this high-profile case, tensions were intensified by media coverage and public attention. Harry's claims suggested that some family members were not respecting boundaries, which created strain on relationships. The accusation introduced uncertainty into previously assumed agreements and raised questions about loyalty and communication. Observers speculated about how other family members, especially Andrew and Meghan, would respond, and whether they would attempt to defend themselves or reconcile with Harry. The media amplified the drama immediately, Analysts and commentators debated the potential consequences, predicting that the accusation could dominate headlines for weeks. Every news outlet was searching for reactions and clarifications. Social media platforms buzzed with discussion, speculation, and divided opinions. Supporters of Harry praised his transparency, while others questioned the timing and necessity of his statement. The attention placed intense pressure on all parties to respond carefully and strategically. For Harry, making the accusation was both risky and calculated. It risked creating public conflict, but it also allowed him to assert that boundaries were being crossed. By bringing the issue to light, he ensured that any further interference could not go unnoticed. At the same time, he faced criticism for disrupting a delicate balance that had just been established. Observers recognized that a single statement had the power to undo years of careful negotiation and family diplomacy. The questions for the audience were immediate and pressing. Why now? Why after the custody deal had been finalized? Could this accusation unravel everything that had been established legally and emotionally? The situation left viewers on edge, anticipating the next moves from Meghan, Andrew, and other family members. The stage was set for heightened scrutiny, and the accusation promised to dominate headlines, legal discussions, and family interactions in the coming weeks. Harry's statement became the turning point, signaling that the story of family dynamics was far from over, and that every move from this point forward would carry significance. Meghan under fire. Following Harry's accusation, Meghan suddenly found herself at the center of public attention and scrutiny. Her reaction, both publicly and privately, became a focal point for media, royal observers, and the general audience. The timing of Harry's claim could not have been more sensitive. With the custody deal supposedly completed, Meghan was expected to maintain composure and navigate family life with discretion. Instead, she now faced direct questions about her role in the alleged interference. The story intensified as aides, close friends, and former associates provided insights into how this new tension could affect her daily life. The public reaction was immediate. Headlines questioned Meghan's involvement and her decisions, creating a wave of speculation and analysis. Every move she made, every appearance she attended, was dissected for signs of guilt, defensiveness, or strategic positioning. Observers noted that Meghan had carefully curated her public image over the years, balancing charitable work, family responsibilities, and media appearances. The accusation threatened to undo much of this effort, placing her reputation under unprecedented pressure. Private reactions were equally complex. Meghan reportedly experienced a mixture of frustration, worry, and determination. The accusation was not only personal, it touched on her ability to protect her family and maintain control over her children's well-being. Advisors emphasized the importance of strategic communication and legal caution. Decisions that might have seemed straightforward under normal circumstances suddenly required careful consideration. Even routine interactions with family members became delicate, as every word could be interpreted in the context of the accusation. The stakes extended beyond personal and family dynamics. Meghan faced potential legal scrutiny as lawyers analyzed how the accusation could influence the custody arrangement. Every interaction documented in emails, messages, or meeting notes could be examined for evidence. Aides and advisors highlighted that her public statements would need to be precise to avoid unintended consequences. In this high-pressure environment, the potential for missteps was significant, and every action carried weight. Media coverage amplified the tension further. Analysts explored historical controversies, public reactions, and past conflicts to frame the story. The combination of Harry's statement and Meghan's perceived role created a narrative that seemed to challenge the carefully managed public image she had built over years. Interviews, appearances, and social media posts were dissected, with commentary often leaning towards skepticism or criticism. This scrutiny intensified the pressure on Meghan to respond in ways that were measured, strategic, and legally sound. Despite the intensity, Meghan's focus remained on her family. Protecting her children and maintaining a sense of stability became her top priority. Every decision required balancing public perception, private family concerns, and legal responsibilities. Friends and advisors stressed the importance of clarity, consistency, and caution, as missteps could escalate the situation further. The accusation created a situation where even well-intentioned actions could be misinterpreted, making each move high stakes. For Meghan, the environment was unforgiving. Every choice, from public appearances to private family interactions, was under scrutiny. Every word could be twisted, and every action analyzed for motives and meaning. The accusation forced her to operate in a heightened state of awareness, where the margin for error was minimal. Observers recognized that navigating this storm required skill, patience, and constant attention. Andrew's role in the chaos. The accusation from Harry placed Prince Andrew squarely in the center of renewed scrutiny. Andrew, already a controversial figure within the royal family due to past scandals, suddenly became a key focus for the public and the media. The claim that he had interfered in custody or parenting decisions added a new layer to his reputation, intensifying the perception that he was a meddling presence in family affairs. People began to question the extent of his influence and whether he had previously used family connections to assert control over sensitive matters. Andrew's history with public controversy could not be ignored. Observers reminded audiences that he had been involved in multiple scandals over the years, which had eroded trust and complicated his standing within the family. While those past events were largely personal or legal in nature, they contributed to a narrative in which Andrew's judgment and reliability were repeatedly questioned. The new accusation from Harry tapped into this narrative, framing him as a figure whose interference could disrupt even carefully negotiated agreements. Inside the family, dynamics were complex. Loyalty and resentment coexisted in equal measure, shaping interactions and decisions behind closed doors. Some family members reportedly saw Andrew as protective, someone who wanted to assert influence to maintain family cohesion. Others, however, perceived him as overstepping boundaries, making decisions that should have remained private or between parents. This tension was now magnified by Harry's statement, which cast every action Andrew had taken in a suspicious light. The accusation forced the spotlight onto Andrew's role in everyday family matters. Decisions regarding schedules, schooling, and parental responsibilities became potential flashpoints. Analysts and royal observers speculated on whether Andrew had subtly influenced Meghan and Harry's parenting choices or applied pressure in ways that were unseen by the public. Every interaction, both past and present, was now being scrutinized for evidence that might support or contradict Harry's claims. Public perception became an immediate challenge for Andrew. His reputation, already fragile due to previous controversies, was now tied to the narrative of interference in his nephew and niece's lives. Social media, news outlets, and public discussion forums were filled with debate over whether the accusation was credible or merely a reflection of family disagreements. Every appearance he made, whether public or private, was analyzed for body language, tone, and implied motivations. The scrutiny was intense, requiring careful management of both words and actions. At the heart of the story was influence and power. For Andrew, the accusation represented both risk and opportunity. On one hand, it could cement a perception that he wielded significant control over family matters, demonstrating his ability to assert authority within the royal household. On the other hand, it also threatened to erode trust, making him appear manipulative or obstructive in ways that could have legal and social consequences. Every move he made had to balance authority, accountability, and perception. The internal family response was equally critical. Advisors, aides, and other family members reportedly engaged in discreet discussions to determine how to address the accusation. These conversations focused on strategy, risk management, and protecting the broader family image. Legal teams considered potential implications for custody and privacy, while communication experts evaluated how public statements might influence public opinion. Andrew's involvement, whether real or perceived, became a central consideration in every plan. For Andrew, this moment could define his legacy within the family. It could either reinforce his influence or finally diminish it. The accusation had reopened old wounds, challenged loyalties, and put his judgment under a microscope. Audiences were left questioning whether Andrew would navigate this storm successfully or whether the scrutiny would expose fractures that could not easily be repaired. The stage was set for high-stakes decisions, with consequences that would ripple across family relationships and public perception alike. The palace responds. Behind the palace walls, the reaction to Harry's accusation was immediate and intense. Confidential statements, strategic meetings, and crisis management efforts were activated without delay. The accusation disrupted carefully laid plans, forcing advisors, aides, and legal teams to reconsider every step in the custody arrangement and public communication strategy. The palace was suddenly in a state of high alert, where every decision, appearance, and word required careful calculation. Anonymous insiders described an environment of controlled urgency. Meetings were convened in private chambers to evaluate the potential fallout from Harry's claim. Legal teams reviewed custody agreements, communications between family members, and past interactions for anything that could be relevant. Every document, email, and note was considered, as even minor details could affect perception or legal interpretation. The focus was on mitigating risk and protecting the reputation of the family while maintaining compliance with legal obligations. Communication strategies were immediately revised. Public relations teams drafted statements, prepared spokespeople, and anticipated media inquiries. The goal was to present a measured response that addressed concerns without inflaming the situation further. Every press release, interview, and social media post was scrutinized for tone, clarity, and impact. The palace understood that public opinion could shape the broader narrative, making the management of information just as critical as legal considerations. Behind the gilded doors, every move was calculated, yet nothing could prepare palace officials for the intensity of the storm Harry had unleashed. The accusation had introduced a level of unpredictability that required constant monitoring. Advisors evaluated every possible scenario, from legal challenges to media backlash, in order to anticipate outcomes and maintain control. The stakes were high, as the accusation had implications for family trust, public perception, and the credibility of long-standing arrangements. The palace response extended beyond immediate crisis management. Longer-term plans, including public appearances, charitable engagements, and family events, were reconsidered. Risk assessments were conducted to determine whether any future interaction could exacerbate tensions. The accusation introduced an element of uncertainty that required strategic foresight and flexible planning. Every action had to account for the potential to shift the narrative, influence public opinion, or create additional complications. Insiders also noted the personal strain on family members. The accusation affected relationships within the household, as individuals had to balance loyalty, caution, and transparency. Discussions were held about how to maintain unity while addressing legal and public challenges. Advisors emphasized the importance of measured communication and disciplined behavior, understanding that any misstep could intensify scrutiny or lead to further conflict. The legal dimension was critical. The accusation had the potential to reopen discussions about custody enforcement, boundaries, and parental authority. Lawyers analyzed the agreement for vulnerabilities and evaluated how the interference claim might influence future decisions. Every clause, precedent, and document was considered to ensure that any response was both protective and legally sound. The palace had to act swiftly to preserve both authority and family stability. Behind the palace walls, the world was watching, and every decision carried weight. The accusation had created a storm that demanded immediate action, careful planning, and relentless attention to detail. Observers were left to watch as the palace navigated the complex web of family loyalty, legal responsibility, and public scrutiny, knowing that the outcome would define both reputation and legacy in ways that could last for years. The media frenzy. The moment Harry's accusation against Meghan and Andrew became public, the world reacted instantly. Headlines across newspapers, websites, and news apps exploded, each presenting its own angle. Some portrayed the situation as a shocking rupture within the royal family, emphasizing tension and betrayal. Others focused on Andrew's past controversies, tying his current involvement to historical scandals and raising questions about influence and judgment. The story quickly became a dominant topic on television news, social media, and online forums, drawing millions of viewers and readers worldwide. Social media amplified the frenzy. Twitter threads, Facebook posts, and Instagram stories dissected every detail, sometimes in real time. Memes and viral clips circulated, often humorous but always pointed, reflecting public fascination and scrutiny. Commentary from royal experts, analysts, and influencers added layers to the conversation. They examined possible motives, speculated on hidden family dynamics, and predicted future developments. Every post, every share, and every trending topic increased public engagement, making the story feel immediate and unavoidable. The narrative between different media outlets varied widely. Tabloids focused on sensational aspects, framing the accusation as explosive and potentially destructive to the monarchy. Headlines highlighted conflict, family drama, and personal grievances, appealing to audiences who were captivated by scandal. Mainstream media outlets presented a more measured analysis, contextualizing the accusation within legal frameworks, family history, and public perception. They explored how the claim could affect custody arrangements, royal titles, and future family relationships. Social media influencers added another layer, mixing opinion, speculation, and humor, making the story accessible to younger audiences and global followers. Visual elements became powerful tools in shaping perception. Photographs of public appearances, archival images of family events, and edited clips of interviews were used to imply connections, tensions, or reactions. Memes, GIFs, and video compilations captured emotional beats, portraying everything from shock to disbelief to amusement. Audiences absorbed these visuals quickly, forming opinions even before reading detailed reports. Every image, every clip, and every caption contributed to the broader narrative and magnified the stakes. The stakes were high for Harry, Meghan, and Andrew. Public perception could influence legal proceedings, reputational standing, and relationships within the family. Fans and critics alike engaged passionately, debating morality, loyalty, and fairness. The world watched as if waiting for the next chapter in a story that seemed to unfold hour by hour. Every public appearance, statement, or social media post was analyzed, dissected, and shared, amplifying the impact of the initial accusation. The frenzy also highlighted the speed at which information traveled. News cycles compressed, with updates appearing every few minutes. Rumors, clarifications, and expert commentary overlapped, creating a complex media environment. For the royals, this meant that careful communication was essential. Legal teams and advisors had to monitor media output continuously, anticipating misinterpretation, misreporting, or amplification of unverified claims. Each move had the potential to shift public opinion, escalate tension, or influence outcomes. At the center of the storm were emotions. Public fascination combined with outrage, curiosity, and sympathy. Audiences debated who was at fault, who might benefit, and what the implications would be for custody and family dynamics. The media frenzy transformed the private accusation into a global conversation, ensuring that every action by Harry, Meghan, or Andrew was scrutinized under an intense spotlight. What happens next? As the media frenzy continued, the question on everyone's mind was clear. What happens next? The accusation had opened a new chapter in the royal narrative, one full of uncertainty, speculation, and potential consequences. Legal teams, palace advisors, and family members were reportedly evaluating every possible scenario to determine how to navigate the fallout. The custody deal, previously thought to be secure, now faced renewed examination, with the possibility of renegotiation becoming a real concern. The potential for legal battles loomed large. Harry's accusation could create grounds for reviewing the agreement, either formally or through informal negotiations. Experts considered how claims of interference might influence parental responsibilities, schedules, or even the interpretation of existing clauses. The family had to balance private resolution with public perception, ensuring that any adjustments did not fuel further media speculation or fan backlash. Every decision carried long-term implications for relationships, trust, and authority within the household. Beyond custody, the accusation threatened to reshape public image. Harry and Meghan, already prominent figures with global attention, faced scrutiny over motives, credibility, and strategy. Every media appearance, social media post, and public statement contributed to a narrative that could either protect or erode their reputation. Andrew's standing within the family and in public perception was equally affected. Observers considered whether this moment might redefine his role, influence, and future involvement in family decisions. Family power dynamics were also at stake. The accusation introduced tension and uncertainty into relationships between generations, siblings, and extended relatives. Loyalty, trust, and influence became critical points of negotiation, with advisors attempting to mediate conflicts and maintain a sense of unity. Private discussions and strategic planning likely continued behind closed doors, focused on preserving stability while addressing legal and reputational challenges. Longer-term consequences were difficult to predict. The accusation could influence future custody arrangements, title usage, and privileges. It might shape how the family interacts publicly, participates in ceremonial duties, or engages with the media. Each decision would require balancing privacy, public expectation, and legal responsibility. Advisors had to consider both immediate response and extended impact, ensuring that actions taken now would not compromise future options. Public interest remained intense. Social media, news outlets, and royal commentators continued to dissect every development, speculating about potential outcomes and motivations. Audience engagement ensured that the story remained in the spotlight, amplifying the pressure on Harry, Meghan, Andrew, and palace officials. The public's perception of fairness, loyalty, and responsibility added another layer of complexity, making strategic communication and careful planning essential. The story was far from over. Every new report or revelation had the potential to change the narrative. Audiences were left with questions about whether the custody deal could survive, how family relationships might evolve, and whether the accusation would redefine the royal legacy. The uncertainty created a sense of suspense and anticipation, keeping attention focused on every development. The chapter closed with a call to vigilance and curiosity. The drama was ongoing, and viewers were encouraged to watch closely as events unfolded. Questions lingered in the air. Could the accusation rewrite the royal narrative entirely? Would the custody agreement remain intact? Could public perception influence private outcomes? The answers remained unknown, ensuring that the story would continue to captivate, challenge assumptions, and spark discussion for weeks to come. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.